Hey, Social Cam, man, I've been kind of away from it for a minute. Been working, keeping my grind on, but wanted to say hello and reach out to everybody because hadn't seen you. But I'm kind of tired of all the racial stuff that's going on and everything that everybody point that's a racial situation. Everything is not racial, but at the same time, there is a lot of racism going on. I've experienced it personally. There's other people that experience it personally. So my thing is, we've got to do better as Americans, man. The Ferguson situation with Michael Brown. The issue I have with that, if the story is true from the officer, and let me get this straight. I have dozens of officer friends that are like really, really, really cool. And I've been around them when they've had to get aggressive because a person is acting aggressive. So, that being said, you know, you've got to be prepared, and they got to protect themselves. It's just like you walking down the street. If you got a CHL license, you've got to be prepared to protect yourself before anybody else gets you. Point blank. But there is an authority, like anybody that has a major position in a corporation and all this stuff here. A lot of times they use their authority or their power to get what they want. And that is what annoys me. All right, back to the Ferguson piece. If the story is true, where the officer was in the car and Michael Brown went off into the car and started punching the officer has the right for self-defense. But if the officer shot him in the hand and he went away, is what the story, from what I heard. I could be wrong, so don't criticize me if I am. From what I've heard, he shot Brown in the hand, and he went on about his business per se. Then the officer was following him, and then from my understanding, Brown came back towards him. Now, this is the problem I have. Officers are trained to shoot, trained to kill, but then at the same time, if there's not that big of a threat, first of all, why so many shots? Secondly, he could have shot the man in the leg if that was the case. Shoot him in the leg or use your taser. Now, I've seen some big guys that just tasing don't work. Point blank. But if this man, shoot this man in the leg or something. I don't know. It's just, to me, the story is very conflicting. But then at the same time, there is a self-defense if the story is true. Now, if you're a trained officer, and tell me if I'm wrong, you are able to shoot to kill, but this man didn't have anything on him, and his fist could be considered a lethal weapon depending on, where he is. If that's the case, shoot him in the leg, just so you can knock him down and wait for your backup. But multiple shots to kill this man, it's ridiculous. We can go on from the next story to the next to the next. And I've had a situation where I was put over by all white cops in DeSoto, Texas, and told somebody nervous as heck because I didn't know what was going on. I got pulled over. The officer was he was a butthole. Yes, he was. But after the incident, after he told me why they pulled me over, I had like 6 cops. What I did is I think I texted my brother at the time and told him that, hey, man, I got pulled over by like 6 cops, just letting you know, just in case something go down, blah, 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 blah. I'm where I am. But when the officer came to me, he was like, hey, we need you, the normal routine. And I said, sir, why am I being pulled over? He was like, just hand me your stuff, and that's it. I'm like, sir, he said, I'll tell you in a minute. Like, dang, I don't have the right to know why you pulling me over. So turn around, I just cooperated. He went back to his car. The other officers, one was in the back by my back window, the other was on the right side of my window. They were looking through the truck. I had a little SUV back then. And then finally he came to me. He was like, well, you don't have any warrants or anything like that. And then two, we pulled you over because your vehicle and you fit the description, black male in a black vehicle. So we pulled you over because of that. It was just a robbery that took place around the corner. And the only reason why we let you go because you was very calm. And you don't have, and it don't mean that you don't have, because you don't have a record, you ain't doing nothing. But because you was clean, everything was clean, and you was very calm with the situation and wasn't very jittery and all this stuff here. So a lot of times, just being calm can, diffuse the situation. But now I have, and what's crazy is I have most of my bad incidents have been by some of the black cops. I'll never forget, I was asking this cop for directions. Just directions. And they were like, where were you supposed to go? And it was just real rude. And his partner, not jumping in, into the, what was going on. He just kind of left it alone. But he was looking at me like, dang, my partner's acting a fool for what? He just asked for directions. So you got a lot of cocky people, cocky officers out there. Don't get me wrong, and that's black or white, So I'll just say, respect them. And a lot of times, majority of the times, they respect you. Because right now, because there's so much violence going on, these cops are scared for their lives. And I don't blame them. I do not blame them. But at the same time, you need to be scared for yours. Because you just never, because at the end of the day, yes, they're cops, but they're human. And what I don't like is when people take power of the position they have. And some of them do. But, y'all, protect yourself. Watch your back, period, because it ain't just the cops. It's people every day robbing. And real quick, what bothers me is in Oak Cliff. I'm from Oak Cliff. Oak Cliff, that's my hood. I'm sorry, I had to do that. But the schools that I went to in Oak Cliff had metal detectors. But you go to a white school, they don't have that. Especially the ones I've been to, I will say that. And what bothers me is, how often do you hear a black school being shot up? Now, you hear about a white kid go in there and shoot up everybody and turn it on himself. Black schools, you don't hear about that like that. And if you do, they going for that one person they looking for, and they gone. It ain't the whole school they trying to blow up. So, you can't always point it at the rough side is the black. You got more whites that are taking drugs than blacks. We're selling it to them. Yeah, we're the dope dealers, I guess, quote unquote. But the whites are taking the drugs. They're the ones that's smoking that stuff. But we're the bad guys completely. So I don't know, man. I'm just venting. So enough for now. Tell me your thoughts. Let me know what you think about it. And hopefully I had a wonderful holiday. I'm out. SnoopRobinson.com.